Alright guys, we're back, and what we're going to do is start working on the turkey, get it cleaned out, get everything ready, and get it into the brine. Now what size turkey you want to choose, I've found somewhere around the 13 pound to 14 pound range works best for frying. What happens if you get a little bit too much bigger, not only does it not fit in the pot good, but it also is just a little bit more cumbersome to work with. The meat doesn't turn out quite as good, so I like to stick to around the 14 pound range, 13 to 14 pounds, something like that. What I'm working with is a 14 pound. As far as fresh or frozen, if you can get it pretty close to you fresh, then go ahead and by all means and get it fresh. That is going to be a tastier bird, and it's going to probably be healthier as well because they don't do anything with it. I don't know of any places real close to me, so this is actually a frozen bird. So there's not really anything wrong with frozen, but there's a couple of things you want to look out for. First, you want to look for something that says like hormone free or something like that, to where it lets you know that they haven't been injected with a whole bunch of stuff that they really don't need, that's not very good for you. Also, some things you might hear is pasture raised or free range. Free range means they have to have access to the outside. They don't say how much or anything like that. And then pasture raised, they say that the bird has to have access to a pasture, but they don't define pasture that very well. So just kind of use your own judgment on that, and you should end up with a pretty good bird for doing your frying. So let's go ahead and get in here and get everything pulled out of this one, and we'll get it trimmed up and ready to go in here. Now, something I like to do before I put my turkey in here is I go ahead and just scrub my sinks real good, get them good and clean. This is food that we're going to be eating, so I want to try to be as sanitary as I can in every stage of this process. I know that this has the potential of having salmonella and things like that on it, but I want to make sure that I'm not introducing anything new into it. So whatever's on the bird, I don't mind being on there, but I don't want to be introducing a whole lot of new stuff to it. So I make sure and clean my sink really good before I get in here and start pulling stuff out. So now what we want to do is just get in there and start pulling out things like the neck and all the other goodies that are in here. That's all on that side. And then in the neck cavity, you have this little bag of goodies. And just make sure you're all cleaned out in there. I know it's kind of nasty, but I want to go ahead and clean all that out. Any little excess pieces like that, go ahead and trim off. And I like to trim a little bit of this neck off, just so it's not all in the way. So we got that there. That's good. That side there looks good. Now, with this one, they took and have stuck the legs in on a piece of the flesh here, but a lot of times you'll see either like a metal or a plastic little thing that grabs these and goes ahead and sticks it in there, and it hooks back in there somewhere. Go ahead and pull that out. I'm going to leave this like this just because it keeps those legs nice and captured and not flopping around all over the place. And I like to go ahead and give it a good wash down, just to wash any of the fluids that it came in off, and get all any kind of excess blood that may be in there still. So I like to go ahead and wash it off good. So give it a good wash in here. Clean out the insides. Like I said, you can choose to do this or not. I like to do it just for peace of mind, to get everything nice and clean as possible. Alright, so we got the brine that we made yesterday, and it's cooled down nicely, and we're getting ready to go ahead and throw the bird in there. Now what we're going to do is take the turkey, and we're going to put it in breast side down. Now the breast is typically the meat that dries out the soonest, so we want to get it down in the water the most, so that we make sure that it gets good and moisture rich. So we'll go ahead and take and throw that down in there. Just like that. And just let it fill up with all those juices in there. And then what we want to do is take and fill it up with 5 pounds of ice. And I've just got a little bit here, but I'll put the rest of it in here in just a second. But we want to just go ahead and throw some ice in there. Alright, there it is, all ready with all the ice in there, ready to go. Just going to put the top on it and let it sit overnight. Alright, good morning guys. It is Thanksgiving morning and everybody here is still asleep. It's about 6:30 right now. So I'm being a little bit quiet. I hope y'all can still hear me. The turkey has been sitting in the brine since yesterday when we put it in there. The only thing that I've done that I don't think I mentioned yesterday was about halfway through the brining time, I took and just pulled the turkey out and turned it over so the breast side was up. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take and pull the turkey out and sit it down in the sink and let rinse it off and let it sit and just drain a little bit. I have this little rack here that came out of our toaster oven. It works just about right to where it sits down in here and it's not sitting on the sink, so it can drain good. So let's go ahead and pull the turkey out. Alright, there we go. Now let's just give it a good rinsing off inside and out. You want to get as much of the brine off the outside as possible. You don't want it to be any more salty than necessary. Alright, that'll work. As you're washing it off, make sure you get all the little peppercorns and allspice berries out of it. I've got a bunch of them down in the sink drain down in here, so I think I'm good. Just gave it a good look over and I don't see any more in there, so we should be okay. If there's one or two, it's not going to hurt anything, but you don't want any like under the skin right at the neck. You start carving into it and it just drops out and rolls somewhere. So alright, so I'm going to let that sit and drain for a little while, and while that's draining, I'm going to go down and get me some extra cardio in just to give my metabolism a good boost this morning. That way I can have a little extra calories today and it's not going to hurt my progress towards my fat loss goals, and we can have a great turkey day. So let's come back in a minute. We'll take and dry the bird off after I finish my cardio, then we'll rub it down good, then we'll go outside and we'll get ready to start frying up some turkey. How about that? Alright guys, morning cardio is done and now we're getting ready to go ahead and make sure and pat off our bird, make sure it's good and dry. Then we're going to spray it with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, just enough to where the rub will stick to it, and then we're going to rub it down good. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so all we need to do is just take a paper towel and just pat it off good. We just want it to be as dry as possible. Should be pretty dry. Most of the moisture should have drained off by now, so it shouldn't take too much. Make sure it's good and pat it off good. Alright, that'll be good enough. Now, we just have a mister here. This is just one of those that you fill it up with whatever oil you want or whatever, and then you just take and put the top in and pump it, and it pressurizes it. And what we're going to do is just give it a light little spray. We're not looking to give it any flavor. What we're doing is just giving the rub something to stick to. So you don't need to be a whole lot of oil put on there, just enough to where your rub's going to stick. Then I like to just take and rub that oil and spread it out, just a nice light even coat. Let's turn it over and do the same thing on the back. Again, not wanting a whole lot on here, just enough for that rub to have something to stick to. Alright, this is the rub that we made the other day. You can see I got it in my Tupperware here, and then I just took an old oregano container where I can just take and shake it on there. And you just take and sprinkle it on your bird. You want to make sure and get some all over. Just like that. Just give it a little rub to where it goes down in the skin a little bit. And then I sprinkle it one more time just to give it a good crust. That's looking good. Let's turn it around and do the other side. And we already got it rubbed up with the oil. And there's no right or wrong way to do this. You just take and sprinkle it on there. And be generous. It's not going to hurt anything. Remember, this is going to give a lot of flavor to the outside of the bird. Now, what does the rubbing do? The salt in this rub, it kind of takes, and as you rub it, it makes a more of a mechanical adhesion to the bird, and it helps to push those flavorings right in the skin there, because the salt is a little bit coarse, so it just helps the flavor stick a little bit better, and it infuses it with the skin there. Alright, that looks pretty good. I'm going to wash my hands right quick, and then we'll take a look at something else here. Alright guys, so now all we want to do is just take our same olive oil mister and take it and just give all this that we're putting the turkey on just a nice little spray down. And then with the paper towel, we're just going to take and rub it in good. And what this does is we're just going to give it a nice little rub in here, and it creates a nice non-stick surface, but it also makes cleanup a lot easier once you get done with the frying process. Don't forget to get the underside as well, because there will be some stuff down here once you get done frying the turkey. Alright, there's that. We also want to do the basket here. Now this takes a little bit longer, but just take your time and you'll get it all done, because this is one of the most tedious things to clean once you get done. So you want to make sure and get it as good as you can. Now as you notice, I'm spraying this in the sink just so I can spray it wherever all the excess oil goes down into the sink, and I don't have to worry about cleaning it up off a table or something in a minute. So go ahead and just give this a good rub down. So that should be good for that. So now what we're going to do is sit this off to the side, get the good old turkey lifter here, and we're going to go ahead and sit the turkey on there. Alright, so now we're ready to go ahead and put the turkey on the lifter. What we're going to do is put it on there with the legs down and the breast up. Alright, so you're just going to sit it down on there, and you want that lifter to come right up through the neck, just like that. So now what you can do is take the wings and tuck them back behind the head like that, and they will stay back there out of the way. Just like that. And alright, we are ready to put this into the basket. Alright, now what we want to do is take and put the bird into the basket. So I'm going to take and sit this over in the other side here. Get the basket and sit it back down in here. You'll see why I'm putting the basket in the sink here in just a second. And we want to lower this bird down into the basket. Now the bird's going to want to catch a little bit, so just finagle its way down in there, and that there should work. Alright, now the reason we wanted to take and put the bird in the basket into the sink right here is what we want to do is take some of this rub and put just a little bit more on there, because a little bit fell off as you were working with it. So just want to give it a little extra sprinkle here for that good flavor we're going to get off of it. Alright, that should work. We're ready to take this outside and go ahead and put it on the fryer.